6:05 PM. Roll call.
Mr. Berger, not here. Ms. Capabianca.
Here.
Mr. Corey.
Here.
Mr. Pettis.
Here.
Mr. Ucolito.
Yep.
Ms. Papiano's excused. Ms. Hona, Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Ms. Richardson excused. Ms. Toder.
Here.
Mayor Carbone, don't see her. Mr. Aram.
Here.
Mr. Barlow.
Here.
Ms. Ferguson. Here. Ms. Klemazewski.
Here.
Lebomsky.
Here.
Ms. Schulte.
Here. Okay. Trust funds priority list.
Okay, before we go on, just a couple of things. One, we had that career fair, and I don't know if you all saw it, the article in the paper, so.
Great. Oh, you read it. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
Good.
yes,
Yeah, this was excellent.
yes. And the fellow who they interviewed, he said he wanted a job to help his parents out, yeah.
Yeah,
So
just amazing. I get goosebumps even just
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about that again. It
I know.
was so amazing. Thanks for that.
Yeah. And then this was handed out last night. Mayor handed that out, so I wanted to make copies for you, just in case.
I don't even care anymore.
Call me.
Yeah,
Did you talk to her?
Yeah.
Who's gonna try to get us?
yeah, I know.
What if we go for it?
I know that's.
Simple.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, yep, we're all good.
you want to give me a,
Which one do you want now? Okay, this is
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
You got all these?
you're just the first one.
Okay, just this one. No, I think you have this one. You have this one? Okay, so that you can bring up.
Thank you.
Okay, Sue just gave away mine.
Oh, can I have one?
Oh,
Oh, here, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, we got, it's all good.
Who's that sitting over there?
Is that for Marissa?
yeah. she was-
Oh, yeah.
Marissa, no, I did that for just that reason.
Wow.
So I want to give you just a overview of last night's whatever. Okay, meeting. What? Yeah.
This should be used to.
Yeah, I know, but it's, so one of the things one of the things was reducing our benefits by $1.1 million. You should know that they have a fund, as we always talked about every year. There's $11 million in that fund. That means that it's 57% of in the fund to cover $19 million. So she's going to use 2 million to cover their, as they always do, to cover their revenue. So that leaves $9 million in there. So that's one reason I think they're
we got
reducing that
Million.
$1,000,001 reduction. Okay, so, and this year claims have come in great, so that's another reason. So that's one. The other one is she already figured out about the 2% from ECS. So they are deducting that from us, but that's not a problem because we know who they are, and it was in this year's budget, never transferred out. So that's
This is all listed on the
Yeah.
right-hand
Mhm.
side.
I just want to give
on the
a,
bottom.
yeah, I just want to give
Okay,
a row.
Good.
So that
Kind of
is-
lose track.
That, the 478,666, we haven't already allocated that.
Well,
Yeah.
it was
We
in
haven't
our, it's
requested
in our
that, but we have
budget.
to go back to them.
Right,
for-
it's in our budget. There was a teacher, social worker, and a para. So we have all those people who limited.
So they're just gonna let us keep that is what.
Correct,
it
well,
came down
yeah,
to.
right. correct.
Well,
We
we
just
don't
have to,
plan-
we have to ask for it again.
We have to
We have
apply
to
to
request
the
it again.
We
state.
just notify them. We
Right.
request
Right.
it from the state. The state sends us the money directly.
We have to apply to the state and we have to
Then
notify
notify
the
the
city.
city, correct.
So
That it
we
was
should
goes
do,
to them.
here's the problem.
They lose the revenue, but it comes
So
directly.
how often can that,
Right,
she
so
can't use this excuse every year
Right.
as a recurrence. That's not the city money.
correct,
It's our money by state statute.
right.
So,
But if we don't ask for it.
well,
Correct.
We
but
have
the
to ask
assumption
for
is always, should always be, we're gonna ask for it. It's our money.
Yeah.
They should,
Right.
they're not allowed to.
It's
touch
not a
that money.
gift. It's not like it's a gift
So
to us.
going
It's ours to
forward,
begin with.
how do we stop the assumption that they're gonna keep our money.
We don't, we ask for it and we
No, I
make it.
understand, but she's using that
No.
as an excuse now.
Right.
To not
then
give us
we
To
the
don't-
money.
reduce the budget.
Right,
right.
It has to come out of the discussion.
Yes,
I mean, do you
it
agree?
has to be discussed.
What they did basically was take it off their balance sheet.
I'm
That's all
talking
they
about
did.
going
But
forward.
made it
It
seem
can't
like
be a
it was,
recurring.
here you go. We are giving you money, but it's our money to begin with.
Well,
So it's
right,
either
so-
here nor there at this point,
So
because
they took it off their balance sheet because most ECS money passes nominally. ECS passes through the city before it arrives to the boards of education. It's not really how it works, but nominally that's what it does. So they account for ECS and the city's general revenues. All they did was take it off their balance sheet and assume that it was going to arrive on ours. So in theory, we could not request it and give the city a nice $400-something-thousand gift because it is no longer on their
That's what we
balance
did in
sheet.
the past.
They're not
Right.
assuming that they're ever going to see that.
They're never gonna see it.
Right, and they're not because we're going to request it. They
Right.
did what was right for them.
Now, the
Right.
thing
But
is,
going forward,
going forward, it's gonna be more money for us.
that's what I'm trying to get. at.
Yes.
How do we?
There'd be 2%. Still take it.
2% or whatever.
Yeah, we
Or
always
whatever
should
it
make
is.
clear we're always gonna take it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's,
Right.
and
Never
it-
go back to. like-
no, and it's the next 3
They
years, not,
certainly- They never,
Yeah.
never saw. it.
not 23, 24, but 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27. There's an increase in their ECS. So what does that mean? We take 2%. It's gonna be more than, so eventually it could be 700,000.
Mhm.
It's,
One other thing I think that didn't get noted in the article today for some strange reason is it made the appearance that the Board of Education was fully responsible for the tax increase,
I clarified that. on Facebook.
which was a little bit crazy.
You did.
So the-
You did
The
clarify.
city received an increase of over $3 million.
Right.
So, and we were $1 million.
yeah, our increase was 1.5.
What I didn't understand was her discussion about the alliance money coming back to us, and that's guaranteed and we're not gonna lose it. Once we come out of alliance, if we have $6 million a year and we have 16 positions that are coming out of alliance, how do we not lose those positions? She tried to make it sound like we're gonna always have them.
Well, when are we gonna be out of alliance, first of all?
So
Well, but
This isn't
you're
the
still-
point right now.
Yeah,
But,
but that's the
yeah.
assumption they're making, and they keep pushing us more into alliance, and more into those funds, but
Right, but
what-
then they're not,
Well, it
maybe they're
benefits
not
them.
aware of where
know,
What
but
you're
we are
missing-
with that.
What you're missing is the minimum budget requirement.
Right.
The city's contention is that the alliance grant is counted for purposes of the minimum budget requirement, which is the law that says they can't cut our budget below what it was last year. So the city is claiming that they talked to somebody who told them that the alliance grant money, when it bounces back into the ECS grant, if we were to stop being an alliance, the revenues that came to us through the alliance grant would be tacked on to our minimum budget requirement.
So
I don't know that that's true,
we should get
it
we
sounds
should
like
get a
it's
legal
not
opinion
true.
on that.
Yeah.
but
I mean,
that's their contention.
Shouldn't we know that now so that we're ready?
So we can plan
We need a legal
accordingly.
opinion on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
Michelle said she'd look into it, but above
We
and
can
beyond
get
her
a
office, we
legal-
should get a legal opinion. on it.
You go to the state.
So how it was explained to me is that if that ever happens from the state people, then basically your ECS gets made up for what it was shorted for Alliance. So if we end up just saying even numbers. So if your ECS is 25 million now, but it becomes 30 million when you're no longer an Alliance district, that basically the city just gets that 30 million revenue through ECS directly rather than us getting our Alliance money. But it doesn't
Doesn't mean they
impact
give-
your MBR because they're only required to give you what you got last year. And
From
So we
that.
would lose
Right.
that
Right.
30,000. Or would we lose 5
No.
You,
or 30?
They will
30
If
still be
million.
able to decide.
The
They'll
MBR,
decide what we're
the MBR only includes general budget,
right,
period.
because,
We
right.
fill it out every August.
Right.
And that's all it is. So this year it's going up 1.1 million. They'll see that. That's it.
right, because in the ECS grant, they're not obligated to give to you.
Correct.
That's my
Because
point. That's the
the way
point.
Yeah.
ECS works is it's education cost sharing. It's the state reimbursing the municipality for the cost of education.
Mhm.
And so the municipality gives the money and then the state gives them money to say, here, make up for whatever you couldn't raise in tax. Right, so all they have to do is make sure that the amount of money that comes out of their budget for education is more or equal to the amount of money that comes to them through ECS, which it always will be.
Right.
So if they get a $5 million ECS increase, that doesn't mean that they have to raise our budget by $5 million. They should,
Right.
but they
Right.
don't have to, because all ECS is a reimbursement to the municipality for the cost of education. It's the state sharing
So
the
it should
cost,
go towards education.
but it's a reimbursement.
Reimbursement.
So all they.
It should
For something
still
they-
go toward education.
I agree.
For something
Yeah.
they've conceivably spent
That's what I made to
already.
set the record straight, because
Right?
the record's not straight. Board of Finance members seem to buy it.
Not
No.
all of them.
Not all of them, correct. One of them in particular was very,
Very
Sorry
outspoken
about
and
what
very
happened.
supportive.
but, let's set the record straight now. So next
Yeah.
year, we don't face the same
Yeah.
excuse. And then it's an excuse. It's skullduggery. It's a well-planned attempt to mislead it.
Mhm.
I mean, I will say a
So-
$1.1 million increase is not insubstantial.
Well, what's it as a
Well, it
percent?
is when you're
It's 1.5%.
considering what we were asking for and why we were asking for it.
Well,
It's
look at
not
it this way.
sufficient.
We're down to 54 point some percent as an education budget as part of the city's budget. And the city portion is up to almost 45%.
Well, I understand the reality.
So pretty
but-
soon we'll be in parity. If we continue to get 1.5% every year, we didn't even meet the requirements for our increases this year. If it's a 1.5%, we gave 2% and 3% raises.
It's 2.56%.
We were at 76 last year, weren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on the
76,
bottom. It's
yeah.
on the
We're-
bottom.
yeah, we just tried
76,
Yeah,
932.
Either way, it's
So it's
So
2.56.
It's
So what I
still
can
4%
start
less
by
than-
doing, I can reach out to Bloomfield and
Yeah.
see how their MBR was calculated
Yeah.
when they came off of the line.
let's still
Yeah.
get a legal.
I'll call the state also. Mike
Yeah.
McCann will know. So.
Yeah.
And we'll get a statement from them.
because I think Bloomfield may be still on it.
They still get the funding,
Funding.
even though
Right.
they're
That
not
they-
designated
It goes over
anymore.
a period of time where
Correct.
they
Yeah.
gradually
Still get-
reduce.
Right,
But I think what you're saying
Precisely
is
because it's not part of it. Yeah.
right.
just make sure that we make the city aware,
For those who
that-
don't know.
Right.
correct?
So
Maybe
we
maybe
can
we'll
get
be
a
invited to a
statement,
meeting
then we
next
can
year.
just give
Face
you
to
So
face.
that-
Well, they
So that-
suggested that we meet
That's all.
together. That was their suggestion last night, that we
That
should be
sound I
meeting.
just made the
Really?
same
Yeah.
sound I made last night.
They've already approved our number.
So we'll look into that
Right.
and get
Yeah.
something formalized.
Right.
Yep. So the other one is, remember you, the board, I wasn't here, so you wanted 2.2 million. They want to cut 1.4 million. So if you look at the left hand, the original, that's all of the items that you have, that's in the budget now.
That's the left over here is
Correct.
everything we already have budgeted for.
Correct.
Our-
All the new
Not
stuff.
the IT. That was,
This is, this was our new.
that was in
New
grants.
piece.
Right.
Okay.
This is what was in there. So what we're proposing is on the right-hand side, which is 4 custodians, the first grade teacher at Vogel Wetmore, the alternative teacher, 2 of them out of 4, the other 2 would go into a grant. The interventionist, 2 of them we would keep, the media center, and 10 paraprofessionals. With the paraprofessionals, as you know, we have 9 vacancies right now. Next year, 22, 23, there are 15 vacancies. If you add 10 more, that's 25 vacancies, okay?
Pretty
Which-
close to our 33, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to be able to hire,
Yeah.
25 paras. And if we eventually post to 10, special ed paras would probably go on to these because it's in the classrooms and so forth. It's different. So I think there's a better way of doing it. And I have a thought, but I haven't told Sue my thoughts.
I'd love to hear them.
Should I brace myself?
Tell me, whisper, I'll tell, I'll say. it.
And I haven't spoken to Sue about this, so don't jump
Yes,
out of your
it's-
seat.
it's all good.
Instead of paras, there's a overflow of teachers. So if we try to hire teachers instead and maybe combine, work in one class for half a day, go into another class a half a day where they need it, maybe that's better than
trying
to find 25
paras
paras. I don't know.
at $5 an hour.
I don't know.
So instead of a building para, it would be a building teacher.
Teacher, but it'll be a
We did do
specific
that.
for a
We did
certain
do that.
class that
We
they
did
would
that,
know.
but it was
Right,
special
right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a
We
great
cut
idea.
that.
Yeah,
So it can get-
yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah,
No,
So,
it is.
I don't know, you know, that's just my thought and.
Kathy, what do you
Do
think?
you,
The teachers, yeah.
yeah,
I think I'll apply.
So-
I would say that'd be hard, but elementary,
think-
yes.
It would be easier,
Yeah.
right?
so do you think that that's more, you would be able to attract to fill the positions going that route rather than the para route?
Well, I think it would be easier. I was just talking to Kim
easier?
and saying it's hard to find the paras right now.
Right.
Obviously, Ed's right in terms of the 9 vacancies that we already have. But Kathy and Sue were just laughing. We did do that at elementary where people rotated through classrooms previously to give some support because it will be easier to get teachers. I don't know how many still we're gonna get because we've had vacancies in those areas, but
Well,
Maybe
not-
there's
not-
teachers out there that
Right.
want part-time.
Right.
Elementary is a much easier certification area to fill
Yeah.
than
Right.
like the shortage areas like math, special ed,
Mhm.
those areas. And, you know, we've had some elementary vacancies and we've had some great candidates.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So,
So here's a thought, outside of the fact that, you know, a teacher is probably about 2.5 times as expensive as a paraprofessional, throwing that out there. So we can't put, for example, like classroom support paraprofessionals or whatever we'd be calling them into the Alliance grant. Would it be possible to put classroom co-teachers, if you will, into a grant like that because they're certified staff and they can do more things?
You
That would interest
could.
me. If there's a continued growth in the Alliance grant
Right.
over time, that would be an interesting way
Yeah.
to use that money.
Yes, you could put co-teachers, and whether they're special ed or just not, just another regular ed. So if we get another bump, if we get another million in Alliance, we'd have flexibility there. And then even if you just want to try this out next year, we have some funding in ESSER, so
So give it
you
a,
could try
test drive.
some of
I'm
that. Right,
certainly interested, yeah.
Yeah.
right.
It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
really expensive to put in
Interesting
general
thought.
budget, but
Right.
it's an interesting idea.
But if you keep on getting, if we have let's say 15 paras at the beginning, all of a sudden in September, we have 22 paras opening,
Right,
you know, what I mean,
yeah.
Right.
then it doesn't.
then then we
Then it
need
gets to be
something
very
else to
hard
do.
to
Yeah,
fill.
yeah.
Or do a hybrid. I mean,
That's what
Yeah,
I was
that's
thinking,
what I'm
like,
saying, yeah.
that maybe
See how
a
it goes.
combination of both.
they obviously
do
were
a little
concerned
bit
about us
both.
not having enough pairs and they,
Right.
last night.
My other question about this is just to make sure, so the IT specialists, those would remain in a grant, right? That's where
Correct,
they are.
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
just making sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're definitely still.
What we tried to do is, which was a good idea for you to increase the budget by 2.2, you know, was going to maybe get cut, but these positions are now in the budget. So if every year you put this in and they cut you know, 3/4, you still got some, you're moving more and more people, which you want to, into the budget instead of,
Right.
you know, which we all try to do, but it's
Yeah.
difficult.
It's tricky. Mhm.
How many teachers are we talking about? How many?
Well, I
Well,
guess it would depend. He didn't say a
I
number.
didn't say a number.
He didn't
So
give a
it's-
number.
Range?
well,
You know,
this is
what I'm
biased.
wondering is, teachers have certain rights to evaluations and impose a certain supervisory and evaluative duty on administrators. And the question is, can the administrators
Yeah,
handle that
that's
extra?
true.
The
work?
extra, right.
Is
So
there-
it might need to be a combination, like you're saying, some paras, some teachers, and what are the needs? And if we're really talking primary,
Mhm.
are we talking K3? Are we really targeting those
Okay,
areas?
Right, right.
If you
Right.
could bring in
I
young
would think
teachers.
whatever you would need, I mean, you're the professional, whatever you think is appropriate or
You saw them as
necessary.
younger in
for-
the K,
yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
K1 and
Yeah.
2.
And that's really where you need more
Yeah.
hands-on, and especially with COVID, we saw that our kinder kids came back
Right.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
huge gaps that they had. So then that filtered into first grade as well. So if we can target that,
Mhm.
then that will give us a specific number.
So for purposes of this meeting, we're not talking about taking this 198, 940 and making it allocated for teachers.
No, I've just brought up
No,
the
okay,
idea.
no, I just making
You know,
sure.
just
then
thinking
we
about
we
it.
can
When
go
we're
through
stuck
it.
not
Go
being
down
able to
the
hire.
We can
Right,
talk
yeah.
about it when we talk about ESSER and keep
Yeah.
our general budget
grants,
on track
yes.
here.
Right.
I mean, I'm just to move along, I'm content with this by and large. I mean, it achieves most of our goals. We're adding
Mhm.
half of the custodians that we would like to, but I would say
I-
that it's better than zero custodians.
It is, but is there another way? Do you have any other
Well, we
surprises
already,
about how to build?
well, we
anything?
already have in the budget that you approved is a floater custodian. So that's
Right.
another budget that's
So
in
there's
there.
five.
Okay, so there's five
Five,
total. Okay,
correct,
is
correct.
that better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll take it, I'm sure.
Voters,
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
I'm not gonna tell you no.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not excited.
No, I know. you're
I
not.
know, I
We're
know.
just not getting any capital improvement money. So
Which
we end up in the
that's-
same
We're gonna have-
position.
Well,
Not
we
there
have,
yet.
we have capital that we're gonna take care of.
Yeah, no, there's some more.
we'll talk about
But
that.
anyways,
Yeah, I know
So is everyone okay with
Yeah.
changes?
Yeah. So for that pair, the 198,940.
Yeah. We're gonna keep it as
Yeah.
para until we decide, you guys
What to do.
decide.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
wanted to
right,
make sure
yeah.
that would. Yeah. okay.
So if in August,
Hmm.
we can't hire 25 paras,
Right,
or July, you know what I mean?
right.
Right?
Yeah,
And you can get an elementary teacher.
Hopefully
Faster than-
posting these jobs
yeah.
like
Yeah.
next week or the week after for the
Yeah.
anticipated
Yeah.
positions for
Yeah.
Paris. for next
Paras,
year.
and you see what comes
Yeah.
up.
So, but we just, so this is the dollar amount we have, and then at the next budget meeting, can you give us an update on
If there is an update.
what that looks
Yeah,
like?
everything. I'll
As
give you
to
the new
what that
budget and
break it out.
everything. Yeah.
Wait,
Are there,
hold
I have
on.
one question, sorry.
Wait, there's a discrepancy here, and it maybe it's just benefits, but, so the budget increase is 1,198,225.
Right.
Your chart here is 801,894. Is the balance the benefits? Or is the
It-
total wrong?
That's, no, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the
right.
balance would be the benefits. to
Right.
bring
But
it
it's
up?
very, yeah.
No, that's, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we didn't miss something.
Question.
Go ahead, Sue.
To John's point, just for clarification, on as far as teachers and the administrator responsibilities that go along with having all those teachers in, is there a difference between a co-teacher or like an assistant teacher? Where, so it still becomes the responsibility of the building administrator, just
Right.
like if it were a full-time teacher,
If they're in the teachers union.
Yes.
And they're a certified teacher
then it's all,
through state
okay.
statute, then they have the statutory requirements for the teacher evaluation.
Remember, some of the items you already are in the increase in the 1.1 that you
Mhm.
put in before.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
there's a number of items that you wanted, English, art, and so forth. First grade and Torrington, all those are in there.
Are still, are
They're
safe.
still there.
This, yeah,
They're
safe.
safe.
So will we be
Great.
able to get the other alternate ed teachers out of one of our alliance grant possibly?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, he said they'll go.
Those
two
are
are
Two, that-
two Alliance and two,
Two from
Both
grant.
of them are in the alliance.
Alliance.
So we will
and the
have full
interventionist, right?
floor.
Interventionists
Yeah.
are
There's just two.
two that are here. There's some in the grants. But
Okay, so.
we're
all right.
moving it, you know,
I
as
just
trying to
wanna make
move.
sure we'll
Right.
Be able to fully
Gotcha.
run the alternative program,
Right.
just
Right.
split between general budget
So-
and
Yeah.
grant.
Right, so we're still keeping the four, but two
Yeah,
in the
you wanted
general
to see the
budget and then
alliance.
two
Yeah.
in.
Proposal.
Yeah.
This is for right now,
Yeah,
without
we
the
can actually look at
increase
that.
Oh, we
within.
can't look at this?
It's not on the agenda. it's
Oh.
special
Oh.
meeting.
Oops.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, it is there,
yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
so you can look from here.
All right,
see?
yeah, perfect.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You have another,
Yes,
Any
you want
other
the capital?
questions on this sheet?
No.
And
Thank you, Ed,
just-
and whoever was involved in this, getting this together
Yes.
today.
Any questions? So the right is, so the left is what the board proposed to add, and the right is what survives after our cut. A cut from our request.
That's correct.
right.
No, I'm just,
Oh,
Jeff.
I'm not sure.
Did you just get that one?
Did you get this
Yeah.
one?
She got- just got this one? Okay.
Do you have any questions on? Do you have any questions on this? No. Yeah.
Remember, next thing was the capital. So as Mayor pointed out, we, at the last meeting, we had $514,000 surplus. We looked at the capital, and here's some of the items that we feel we can, security window film in all schools, 73,300. Replace fogged windows, panels, and screens at Vogel Wetmore. The district-wide, I know you want to talk
Yeah.
about that facility study
Good.
and I shouldn't say that, putting 200,000 additional into the turf field. That means you have 400,000 in there, and in the next 5 or 4 years, we can get it up to $1 million. So it would save the taxpayers and so forth. Now, the other items were the capital for computers, and those will be coming out of the Alliance,
Yep.
ESSER and Alliance, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So this is what you would do with this year's surplus.
Correct. There's also one other item, I didn't want to put it on here, because we will be buying track uniforms. That's the
good.
only,
Good.
that's the only
Good.
uniform that has not been purchased.
Excellent.
So I didn't want to, you were right, Sue. I would have got confused with everything. So we're going to buy track, $3,500.
It's so good. Yeah.
Great.
Just something that obviously is on everybody's mind about what's happening in the schools. And some people on the board have, and I wasn't one of them, pushing for more security. New Milford, somebody sent something around today, I think I forwarded it, is immediately hiring, I think it must be a cooperation with the city, a security team for the entire school.
An
system.
armed security team.
Armed security team. How did we, I don't know if you want to use any of this, but certain schools, I think maybe you know more than I do, or somebody, maybe it was Nick, he was talking about Vogel Wetmore, or I keep saying Vogel, the middle school, not having a locked area.
That don't mention. anything
Oh, I'm sorry.
About anything.
You're right.
about the-
Yeah, we should probably not talk.
So,
about
anyway,
security, but-
In the budget, there is,
I think we need to think about how much more we're gonna need.
Yeah.
How much, because we did allocate money for security,
Right, we have a grant.
right?
Yes.
But
remember,
But
that's going to
I-
be built at the
No, I
middle
We're gonna
school,
need more.
I'm saying
and there's going to be a,
I just think
person
we
in
can
there
take
too.
on board In the next 2 or 3 months and making
Yeah.
it a priority with the city. Because it's not just the school's responsibility, I don't think, to take on, whether you call it the hardening of schools or the protection of schools. Every
Right.
parent and every person
Oh, yeah.
says, kids come first.
This is
So
school security.
it needs to
And-
be, it
right,
needs to be
we can have-
discussed.
And we have an SRO that's coming next year for the middle
For the
school.
middle
No,
school.
As
as
part of
well.
this
I don't know if that's
facility
enough.
study, would it be possible for them to also look at that
Yes.
component
Oh, yes.
of it to let us
Yeah, it's a good
know?
idea.
'Cause I think that would be
If-
much
if-
easier.
I spent the better part of Friday and Saturday this past weekend and Tuesday, writing the RFPs for facility study, the window film and the window replacement. And in the facility study, school security is part of what they would look at, and then make recommendations. So it would be, so we would end up with a priority list, if you will, and timelines on capital plan, and that would also include facilities, it would include all of your MEP stuff, your building structure, structural analysis, that's all what's written into that RFP.
So maybe we can suggest when we get that back, that we see if we can do a joint meeting with city council and board of
Right.
finance and executive
Right.
session just to talk about school security,
Right.
when we have actual numbers.
Right, we could
Sounds
also consider speaking with them about it in regards to the infrastructure grant spending that they were.
correct.
The
That's
city's interest in zeroing out our capital plan is that they believe that there's
Right.
virtually infinite money.
There is, oh yeah, there is.
And while that may be kind of true, I'll believe it when I see it, but
They
Mhm.
said
they
we're in a
want
recession, it's not
our
true.
capital to be bundled with theirs through the state.
We're going to do
federal
that.
grant
We have
program.
that. We're gonna
So
do that, yeah.
certainly, I think we could
Oh,
consider
yeah.
security as a big priority.
Right,
I
absolutely.
mean, the Milford, I went online, they're putting somebody in every single school. They're gonna cover every school, which we should,
Remember, with the security grant, we're doing a lot of things with that. security.
We are.
Well,
Yeah, no, but
and we
but
have
it's not
other
enough
Right.
all the
Right, we have
time.
other things that I
That's
think
why
we
I'm
would
bringing
be
it up, of
interested
course,
in, and
yeah.
if there's money on the table, we should
Right.
take it.
So is everyone okay with the request of the excess money? And then The only question I had on this as last
Yeah.
night is just, well, I think it was a little confusing at the meeting is when they said we can move to put it in capital reserves and then it will go into this account that can be accessed by the city or the Board of
Yeah,
Ed.
Right.
let you know. Turf money is already moved into our money, into the grants. It will stay there. Nobody's gonna touch it, as long as I'm alive, to do that field over again. The other ones, you will have bid prices before the end of the year. So it's nothing's, I'm very leery about that capital reserve, because you remember 4 years ago,
Mhm.
you had to pay back $700,000. That's will never happen again. So we will,
The RFPs for those projects are.
ready to go tomorrow.
Great. I mean, it's not a distrust issue. I just wanna
No,
make
I
sure
don't
that we're
distrust, but,
covered because we've had
yes.
issues. So in our request to do that, I just want to make sure it's sealed up that.
It will be
there's-
sealed before June 30th.
We're gonna send them probably like $2,000 or $3,000, so we can be happy with that.
We're getting zilch.
I thought you said you had 514. It looks like you're gonna end up with.
Right, well, that- well, the
3,500.
3,500 goes to the uniform.
Right.
Track uniforms.
Right, so you're gonna end up at about $2,000.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah. Well,
Posted.
Buy
And
him
they can be
some-
happy with that.
Buy something else. right?
yeah. No. Cheesecake? Somebody-
Cheesecake.
Burn your freezer.
I just feel comfortable that we do this before the end of the year, doesn't go in any fund, the
Mhm.
purchase orders are out, boom, it's done.
Yeah.
So much better.
Pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
Perfect.
So much
Right.
easier.
Right,
So much
right,
better.
and it's the right.
At least
thing
it's
to
something
do.
for
Right.
capital improvements.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna do the other stuff.
Sure, but
Send
at least this is guaranteed capital
Right.
improvements.
Correct, correct.
And we're serious that we need this capital improvement and we found a way
Yes.
to do it.
What the city loses sight of is,
That's
the fact that
important.
year after year. The roof would have cost us probably $1 million if we did this 4 years ago, maybe $1.5 million. We've gone through all kinds of hoops and the windows.
Windows,
We're paying probably 2 times what we would have paid
Correct.
5 years ago. If we had bonded the money, or however we manage our capital, bonded it and gotten it done, it would have been half the price. Everything we do is always to fix a
Costs us
problem.
more money. to-
You know, it's no different than a house or a
Okay.
car. You can maintain your house or your car and not spend the money, or you can wait till it all
Reactive
falls
instead
apart.
of
and
proactive.
Spend 2 or 3 times as much, and we seem to do it over and over again. Not us, but the damn city does it. I don't get it.
I know, but we're getting better.
Well, I'm not talking about us.
Mhm.
We have no choice. We live with what we get, which
Yeah.
isn't anything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
I know.
creative.
Right.
Right.
that's-
Well, also look
yeah.
at the Alliance equipment grant we got last year,
Yeah,
you know,
that made a
But
difference.
I don't
made
wanna
a difference
we-
at
we
the
don't wanna
middle
be
school
awarded
and
the state.
Vogel Wetmore.
I agree with you, but we
Yeah.
can't. be
I know, of
awarded the
course,
state.
I know.
Frankly, though, it's the state of Connecticut that's giving us the money for all the things that. we
Correct.
do.
That's my point. I said it last
Um,
night.
Yeah.
So as much as, people like to make fun of them because they're kind of an overbearing bureaucratic nightmare
Right.
sometimes, they're the ones coughing up the money.
Mhm.
And as I
Again-
said, I was gonna bring it up last night. The Republican Party is all against that. We don't want to become wards of the state. We can do it ourselves. We're not.
I'm not a member of any. political
Just,
party.
also remember when
I'm with you, Ed.
they talked about the debt service of the high school. It's going down
Right.
$65 million,
Exactly.
179 million. The city's paying 28 million. Give me a
And,
break.
and,
That's amazing.
Originally it was 70 million,
Unreal.
wasn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Originally it was 70 million. $210 a year more in taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the city's got over $1 billion in credit that they could use for school improvements
Mm-hmm.
also. You can bond a lot more for school improvements than you can for other things. The city could bond enough money to rebuild all of our schools and then some if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on
Mm-hmm.
budget?
Mm-mm.
So just so the public understands, so with the changes, some positions will be moved to grant, so we're not actually cutting positions. and
Right.
That's just important for people to
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no one's been laid
No
off.
one's getting laid
Right.
off
No.
because of this, so thank you for the way to roll this out. Yeah, entertain a motion to approve the 2022-23 budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Wait, wait, wait. Possible action regarding the excess funds priority list first? We didn't do
I'm
action on
sorry.
number 4.
Sorry about
Just the
that.
capital.
Okay.
No, the priority list.
Entertain a motion to
Yes.
approve the
That's
priority
the
list.
budget.
No, that's the
that's
general budget. We don't have the priority list.
This is it.
This is
Yeah,
the
that was-
priority
that was-
list.
Oh,
the
Yeah,
oh, that's what I
you're
said, the
the
capital
one.
plan,
Yeah.
you said no.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
The surplus priorities.
Got it.
Entertain a motion to approve that listing.
So
Second.
All those in favor?
John and Ed.
Entertain a motion to approve the 2022-2023 budget
So moved. As amended.
as amended.
Ed and John.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
so
Gary, are you gonna vote no?
At
Oh,
6:40.
sorry.
didn't say
Wait.
anything.
No.
You're voting no?
To what?
Oh, so it's not
Explaining it that
unanimous?
I don't think we received what we deserved, and I'm
Mhm.
pulling a Mark Bush on. Mark Bush, we should be getting more.
Who adjourned besides John?
I didn't hear.
Oh, who was the
Okay,
second?
motion to
Ed.
adjourn.
John and Ed at 6:40.